On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you know your partner's love language?
What's a love language? I feel like I know you pretty well, but what exactly is a love language?
There are 5 different types of love languages, and we're going to dive deep into them today. You'll gain valuable information on the type of affection that your partner needs the most. In relationships, understanding each other on a deeper level is important for long-lasting harmony and happiness. But sometimes we find ourselves clueless and unable to fully meet our partner's needs and desires. I know we have before.
Yes. So why is it important to know your partner's love language? How is that going to help me understand my partner's needs and wants?
Knowing your partner's love language is essential for fostering a strong relationship. It does allow you to connect on a deeper level, and when you speak your partner's love language, they feel more understood, appreciated, and loved in the way that they crave. Without understanding your partner's love language, it's easy to miss the mark when it comes to expressing love and affection. You may be showing them love in a way that doesn't really resonate with them, which could leave them unfulfilled and maybe misunderstood even. You can ensure that your efforts are aligned with their desires and creates a more satisfying relationship. One example that comes to mind for us was early in our marriage. I used to go to the gym really early before work, so I would get up and quietly leave the house without disturbing you, right?
Yes.
Then when I got home, I always made sure to give you a big hug and tell you that I loved you, right?
Yes.
I would even do things like just bring flowers home randomly, right?
Yes, you did. A lot.
Then one day, out of nowhere, to me, you burst into tears and were explaining that you don't feel like I love you. Yeah, and I was shocked, and I had no idea that she wasn't receiving my love through kind of how I was showing it, through hugs and flowers and me saying I love you. That's when I asked her, what makes you feel loved then?
And I told him I want his presence more than presents, and want to spend time with him. He was very careful not to wake me up when he went to the gym early in the morning, but I actually asked him to wake me up at 5 a.m. so I can at least send him off, see his face before the day started. And I also asked him to spare time of buying flowers and just come home 5 minutes sooner. So as you can see in our case, there's clearly differences in how to express and receive love in each person. And you mentioned 5 love languages. I would like to know how the pattern and then the way we express and receive love fall into those categories.
Yeah.
Will you explain it to me?
Yeah, let's start by going through each of the 5 languages first. First, there's words of affirmation. This love language consists of encouraging and positive words, and verbal or written acknowledgments of love and care. Think compliments and words of encouragement. They can be as simple as I love you, like I did when I came home from the gym, or more in depth, for example, I love you and I appreciate how much you care for our kids, or I am grateful for you.
Aww.
The next one is acts of service. For this love language, a helping hand makes them feel cared for, and doing something to lighten their load will go a long way. Think unloading the dishwasher, making the bed, scheduling an appointment, or picking something up for dinner on the way home. Moving on to receiving gifts. For this love language, it's the thought that counts, not the price of the gift. People with this love language appreciate seeing a visual sign of that person's love, especially one that's been carefully selected by the giver. Gifting your partner their favorite author's new book, or something like bringing home their favorite drink, are both meaningful ideas for showing this love language. The next love language is quality time. With this love language, what you long for most is your partner's undivided attention. Someone whose love language is quality time feels most appreciated when others are present, attentive, and mindful. This means making your partner feel like they're the priority by turning off your cell phone, not engaging in distractions, and making eye contact. This also means sitting close to each other and actively listening to each other to engage with your partner. The 5th love language is physical touch. People whose love language is physical touch read body language very closely and need the intimacy of touch to feel bonded and affirmed. Actions include making the effort to cuddle, hold hands, kiss, and hug regularly. Hugging and other forms of non-sexual touching also cause your brain to release the bonding hormone called oxytocin.
Okay, I understand 5 languages a little better now, but what do we do from there to make the relationship better or how you show love?
The best thing that you can do is discover your partner's love language. Discovering your partner's love language could mean identifying how they show love. So knowing the 5 love languages is great, but you need to discover what your partner's love language is and what love language that you receive love in. This can sometimes be different than how you show love, so that is not always the best indicator on what your partner needs to receive love from.
How do you discover them?
The best way to discover it is truly take the online quiz. First, when you take the online quiz, you might discover something about yourself that you didn't really know. Then, have your partner take the quiz and then talk about it. Communicate about what your love languages are, and that helps you discover how you can best receive and give love to your partner. Be open and honest on how you need to feel loved and appreciated. Explain to your partner what actions or words mean the most to you. By communicating your love language, you empower your partner to meet your emotional needs effectively and create a more fulfilling relationship for the both of you.
We took the quiz and we were shocked by the result and how different they were. We knew we spoke different love languages from our experiences and how we ran into conflicts, like we talked about earlier in this video, but we didn't call it love languages back then. We just kind of communicated about it and then how it made each other feel and kind of came to a middle ground. So when we go back to the case we were talking about earlier, it made sense that my biggest love languages are words of affirmation and quality time.
On the other hand, it made sense that my biggest love languages are physical touch, giving her a hug, and my third biggest love language is receiving gifts.
Our biggest difference was the physical touch. In mine, I only had 3%, and in yours, it was 37%.
Yeah, quite a difference there.
But that doesn't mean that I don't receive love through physical touch. But for me, all the other categories had to be fulfilled first for me to be able to receive through physical touch.
Yeah.
That's why I had to communicate about how I wanted to get some quality time with you before I just get hugs at the end of the night.
Right.
So after we talked about each other's languages, I became a little bit more physical. I would give you a hug a little bit more often than usual. Coming from Japan, it wasn't something I did throughout the day. I don't even remember the last time I hugged my parents.
Right.
But I consciously did that a little bit more, knowing that would make you feel loved and, secured.
Yeah. You understood when you kind of met my family how physical touch could be high on there when you receive hugs and actual kisses from my grandma. So it's just like, it's not that you didn't receive love by that. It's just that our cultural backgrounds were so different and that kind of shaped our love languages in certain ways.
And by learning each other's love languages, you learn to appreciate other ways that they show love, even though that wasn't your main way of showing or receiving love before, because I can still appreciate the intention. And meanwhile, I can keep communicating about, hey, will you show me love this way a little bit more, this way a little bit more? And then we kind of meet in the middle.
Right. Yeah, some ways that I adjusted to for you were maybe writing you notes, leaving you notes inside your lunchbox, leaving you notes randomly throughout the house where I know you would see it and just say, hey, I appreciate you and I love you. And, that's something that as much as I need words of affirmation as well, just not something that I knew and was used to really giving or receiving in that way.
When you learn new love language and then start doing it, it might take a little bit for you to get used to it, but seeing your partner feel so loved and happy, you can see it. It's so rewarding and it actually lets you bond a lot deeper too.
Keep a note, in your phone. Keep a note on, how you can express your love to your partner. Lines that you can say, I appreciate you, I love you, things like that. And go back to those notes and remember.
That's actually so true though. It might sound too practical and tacky, but it really worked for us to have exact phrase to say and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And if your partner's love language is receiving gifts, maybe just keep a note of the little things that they mention throughout the year. That would be really nice to have that. if it's small, if it's big, whatever. Just keep a little note and have that in your back pocket for when you need to express a little extra love.
Yeah, with the gift receiving love language, I'm so not used to it.
Right.
So I would even ask you, like, do you want to have a specific thing knowing what you're getting, or do you want it to be a surprise? Like that
Right.
much communication like was required for me to know what exactly makes you feel loved.
Right.
It's a learning process.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So if you're in a relationship, I want you to ask your partner today, what makes you feel loved? It might surprise you, it might not, but it might give you a few extra things to work on and keep notes for. It's always good to have some extra ways to show your partner love and affection in your back pocket when you need them.
If you found this useful, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future content. Peace out! I'm seeing the design part of how that happened. Some quality to what's a love language? Stop mouthing while I'm talking.
If that sounds sexual, just cut that.
Ooh. So as you can see in our case, clearly there's differences in I can't talk.
Oh my God.
I can't talk. I don't even know how to talk anymore. Ah.